Hello and welcome to Two Tiers Deep, the Women's Cricket Weekly Show, with me, Rosa Simpkin.
And me, Chloe Hill.
I'm the journalist, working in all the tiers of women's cricket.
And I'm the cricketer, currently playing in the game.
We saw a gap in the market, mainly from a Tier 2 coverage perspective, so we thought, why not start a podcast? To start with, we probably should explain something to you, which, otherwise, none of this will make any sense. Last year, the ECB announced Project Darwin, a project to hand the game back to the 18 counties, split into 3 tiers. Tier 1 is the professional level, consisting of the Blaze, Durham, Essex, Lancashire, Hampshire, Somerset, Surrey and Warwickshire. I could go into the depths about why the Blaze aren't knots, but we'll leave that for another time.
And Tier 2 counties are made up of Derbyshire, Glamorgan, Gloucestershire, Kent, Leicestershire, Middlesex, Northamptonshire, Sussex, Worcestershire and Yorkshire.
And then Tier 3 are the national counties.
Before we get started on today's episode, I'd like to give a shout out to our leading partner, Her Game 2. Her Game 2 Cricket partnered the Rose Talks Ball podcast and all the branches of the show, including Two Tiers Deep. Her Game 2 aims to spread a message of hope and equality throughout sport. Initially only in football, they have recognised that discrimination towards women and girls in sport is not limited only to football, so they have expanded into other sports, including cricket, where they can support, encourage and inspire women in the game. If you'd like to find out more about the work they are doing, you can find them online through their website, hergame2.co.uk/cricket, or you can find them on social media by searching for Her Game 2 Cricket. Thank you as always to Her Game 2 for their support of the podcast.
On today's episode, we're doing things slightly differently, as this is our big Finals Day weekend preview. The scheduling gods have blessed you all with an action-packed weekend of T20 cricket, where we won't just see one Finals Day, not even 2, but 3, as all the tiers are in action. Before we get into things and some exclusive interviews with some very special guests, we owe you all a slight explanation. We've had a bit of a mare this week, and owing to a combination of the games I was covering combined with the games Chloe was playing, there genuinely wasn't an hour in the day where we could record together. As a result of this, you'll mainly be listening to me this week. I apologise in advance. Chloe will be featuring to reveal her last blast teams of the week and predictions for the weekend, however. Thankfully, 2 players answered my call for a guest, and we have 2 exclusive interviews for you to make up for the abandonment of our usual format. Marie Kelly is a batting all-rounder who represents the Blaze in Tier 1 and will feature at the Oval on Sunday in Tier 1 Finals Day. Ami Campbell is a powerful left-handed bat, playing for Yorkshire in Tier 2 Finals Day on Saturday in Northampton. I spoke to them both about their seasons so far, preparation for the weekend, predictions and overall thoughts on Project Darwin. You really don't want to miss it. To start with though, let's take a look back at the closing games of the Blast group stages in Tier 1 and 2, and there can't be a better way to do that than with some teams of the week. Starting with Tier 1, I'm going to kick things off, then Chloe will reveal hers. To open the batting, I've got a Blaze duo, both off the back of half-centuries, Marie Kelly and Georgia Alwis. At 3, and also my wicketkeeper, Kira Chaffley, of Surrey. At 4, Cordelia Griffith of Essex. At 5, it had to be Aussie superstar Laura Harris representing the Bears, with 42 off just 14 deliveries. At 6, Susie Bates of Durham, who arguably could be higher up the order, but I guess that shows the depth of my lineup. At 7, more overseas representation in Maddie Penner, both in the runs and wickets for Essex. 8, also my captain, Georgia Adams of Hampshire. At 9, another Aussie superstar, Alana King of Lancashire. Not only was she in the wickets this week, she also scored a match-tying 6 against Somerset off the last ball of their batting innings. At 10, I've got Mahika Gore, only the 6 wickets for her this week for Lancashire. And at 11, as my Somerset representation, I've got Olivia Barnes. At 12, and also deserving equal shout-outs, I've got 2. Rihanna Southby of Hampshire for 62 runs, and Priyanaz Chatterjee of Surrey for 3 wickets. Let's hear Chloe's Tier 1 Team of the Week.
This is my Tier 1 Team of the Week for the last round of the T20s. So, open the batting, I've got Kira Chatley, who's my wicketkeeper. I then second Marie Kelly. My captain, Georgia Adams. Coming out 4, Georgia Elwis. Coming in at 5, Cordelia Griffiths. Coming in at 6th, and she's going to be in the field for this game, is Rihanna Southby. Coming in at 7 is Alice Monaghan. Coming in at 8 is Amu Sarankumar. Coming in at 9 is Amanda Jade Wellington. 10, Callie Moore. 11, Mahika Gore. And my 12 for this week is Eve Jones.
Let's move on to Tier 2, and I'm going to kick things off once again. Opening the batting, I've got the ever-consistent Francesca Sweet of Leicestershire, who also contributed with ball in hand. At 2, and also my captain, Gemma Marriott of Northants, for a match-winning half-century. At 3, Bethan Gammon of Glamorgan. At 4, Coco Streets of Kent. And at 5, a massive shout-out to Ella Porter of Derbyshire, for 2 impressive knocks of 34 and 41. At 6, I've got Georgina Cant as my Gloucestershire representation. At 7, Saskia Hawley of Middlesex. At 8, I've got my wicketkeeper, who also happens to be sister of my Tier 1 captain, Molly Adams. Molly took 2 captures and a stumping for Sussex. At 9, I've got Olivia Thomas of Yorkshire. 10, Anisha Patel of Northants. 11, 15-year-old Caitlin Baker-Smith of Worcestershire. And finally, at 12, a much-deserved shout-out for Rachel King of Sussex. She scored an incredible 48 from 23. Very unlucky to not be in the main 11. Let's see who has made Chloe's Tier 2 Team of the Week.
My Tier 2 Team of the Week for the last round before finals day is Rachel King, opening the batting with Georgie Boyce. Coming in at 3 is Francesca Sweets. Coming in at 4, Bethan Gammon, who I'm going rogue, but she's my wicketkeeper because I know that she can keep. Coming in at 5 is Gemma Marriott, and she is my captain. 6th is Georgina Cant. 7, Coco Streets. 8, Saskia Hawley. 9, Tabitha Stanley. 10, Emma Thatcher. 11, Caitlin Baker-Smith. And 12 is Maria Andrews. So I think I've covered all the teams in Tier 2 for this Team of the Week, and hopefully I've covered all the teams in Tier 1 as well.
As you can hear, me and Chloe both managed to feature all 18 counties across our 2-tier Teams of the Week, which wasn't an easy task. Now it's time to take a look ahead at the weekend, and we're going to start by hearing Chloe's predictions.
And then just to touch base ahead of finals day, my thoughts and feelings going into that is my predictions, obviously, that Yorkshire are going to walk away as Tier 2 champions for the first Tier 2 Vitality Cup, and Surrey are my winners on Sunday in the Tier 1 Vitality Cup. Also, on note of that, we have Tier 3 finals day at Wormsley on Sunday the 27th. In Game 1, we've got Division 2 North East South. So whoever wins that match will be promoted into Division 1 in Tier 3. And then in Tier 3, the Division 1 final is Buckinghamshire v Wiltshire. So we've got finals day happening all day. We've got Saturday Tier 2 finals day, which is really, really exciting. Sunday Tier 1 and Tier 3 finals day.
Now, let's take a deep dive. Firstly, into Northampton on Saturday and Tier 2. The day features 3 games of cricket, 2 semis and a final. Semi-final 1 sees Middlesex take on Leicestershire at 11, and semi-final 2 sees Yorkshire take on Glamorgan at 2:30. The final kicks off at 6:45. Yorkshire are the obvious favourites as the only professional outlet in the Tier 2 game. For those of you who don't know, this is because they're preparing to become a Tier 1 county next season. They topped the North Group with 8 wins from 8 and 38 points, including 6 bonus point victories, an incredibly dominant display. However, I reckon the South Group might have something to say about their dominance and will provide a much firmer battle than the North Group has so far. Middlesex have been particularly consistent, topping the South Group with 30 points and 7 wins from their 8 games. So whilst Yorkshire are my winners, there is always a possibility of an upset, especially in T20 cricket. I was lucky enough to catch up with Yorkshire's Ami Campbell ahead of tomorrow's action. Let's have a listen to what she has to say. I am delighted to welcome the absolute icon that is Ami Campbell to the Two Deers Deep podcast. Thank you so much for joining me, Amy. First of all, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm just about to go in and train in a bit. We've got a bit of outdoor training under the lights tonight, so it's quite exciting for the first time in a while. Just a bit of prep before the weekend, finals. So yeah, that's exciting. Everyone's going to get together tonight and have a big training session. So yeah, we're buzzing to get going.
I mean, you have made the decision to move back up north at the conclusion of the regional era to join Yorkshire in Tier 2. What was your thought process surrounding the move?
So my thought process was, one, I'm getting older and I was offered a 3-year contract. So I just thought, why not try something new? I was ready to move from Birmingham, a little bit more up north towards my family. It was always kind of on the cards for me to come back to Yorkshire or up north at some point. So yeah, when it was kind of like the opportunity arose, it was kind of perfect for me, like a 3-year deal of having a year in Tier 2, which I didn't really see as a step back for me. It was had a pretty big year mentally last year, dealing with certain things like loss of my sister and stuff like that. So I feel like it was a good opportunity to me to take a little bit of a step back, pressure off, and just focus on myself, as well as, continue to play cricket and then obviously go forward and, go back into Tier 1. So for me personally, I thought it was a really, really good move for career, my head, and also just, I get bored in the same place, and I'd already done 3 years in Birmingham, so I just thought it was the best move for me at the time.
And how has it been so far?
It's honestly been unbelievable. Like the amount of work and dedication the staff and the people higher up here at Yorkshire, what they've put into the women's game here, especially in Tier 2. We're all contracted here. I think we're the only Tier 2 team that are. They're really looking to drive the women's game forward and create that professional environment from day one, really, and they have done, and I think it's shown in our games and how we've played together as a team. And yeah, I feel really comfortable here. I always feel at home at Yorkshire, so it's been a really, really easy move for me, and I've settled in quite nicely. I went to uni here, didn't I? So I feel quite comfortable in Leeds, and a bit like a home from home for me, and being close to my family has been great. But yeah, they've really, really, like Rich and Brycey and all the members of staff have been absolutely amazing, and trying to create a culture where everybody is welcome and everyone feels comfortable in their own skin, and we bond really well as a group. And I think it has shown this season so far about how much we're come together as a collective.
And then on that note, for the listeners who don't know, you are gaining Tier 1 status next season, and you're in a bit of a transition phase, and I've noticed that you've been utilising a lot of members of your academy. How has it been as one of the more seasoned pros in the team, helping to manage the transition for those younger girls?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really had to do a lot of work with the girls. I thought I would probably have to take more of a mentoring role, and be more of a senior player. And I hate to say it, more of the mature player, but I am the oldest in the team now, so I've got to take that role. But yeah, they've actually, I think because the environment that we've created here is everyone is as one. They've came into the environment and they haven't crumbled under pressure. They've just performed, and they felt comfortable enough and backed enough to go and do their thing. And if it goes well, great. And if it goes wrong, we're still going to back you. It's not too harsh of an environment here, and it's good that we've had a year where these youngsters can come in so talented. Like I've been blown away by how, Amelia Love, she's 16, like she still can't come to training on weekdays because she's at school. It's just unbelievable how far she's came in her confidence. And it's been just great to watch from the sidelines, to be fair. They've been absolutely owning it. They've been turning up and, they've performed. And yeah, so it's really, really exciting going forward as to what they're going to do in the next couple of years. They all bring a lot, a fresh skill to the team. So, and it's good for that, we're all competing for roles here, and next year going into Tier 1, we still don't know exactly what the main team will be. And I think that's exactly what we needed this year going into tier 2 is kind of like no one's comfortable. There's actually some really good players.
It's pretty nice to have a little extra money for your.
Is that my YouTube playing? But yeah, it's good that we're not all just comfortable in tier 2. You know, there's people being in and out of the team due to the academy players coming in, and I think that's really, really good. That keeps people moving forward and still trying to get better and still solidify their role in the team. And yeah, I think it's been great for them to come through, and I think they've adapted really, really well.
And then on that note, you've had a very young captain for your Blast campaign in Maddie Ward. How has it been seeing her kind of take on that extra layer of responsibility?
Yeah, I feel like Maddie's pretty calm, cool, and collected as a character. I mean, we never know what goes on in people's heads usually on the inside, but on the outside, she seems to have a lot of fight in her. I think, you know, taking on that role at such a young age, I think she's the youngest captain Yorkshire have ever had. And then she's still performing really, really well. I mean, she's getting better even just throughout the season. This shows where she's going as a player and you know, where she will be going in the next few years. I think a lot of people would sometimes crumble under that pressure and, you know, it would take away from their performances, but it seems to have actually helped her gain confidence and show that she can be a really, really good leader in the team. But yeah, it's been great to watch Maddie come from maybe not the most confident start of the season to then be given that role and then, you know, pushing herself in games and, you know, putting on some really, really good performances. So it's been great to watch. Yeah, it's an amazing opportunity to have at that age as well. So the fact that she's grasping it with both hands and, you know, doing really, really well at the same time is great for her, for sure.
I mean, me and Chloe last week were talking about how she appears to be able to do it all because obviously earlier on in the season with Lauren still in the team, not on loan at Essex, she was bowling.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
She's
pretty
good as
unbelievable.
well. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of jealous, to be honest. I wish I'd carried on with my bowling because it would be a mixed selection for things a lot easier. But yeah, she actually bowls really, really well, and I know she's going to be working on that a lot in the winter because we don't know what's going on with keeping next year. Obviously, we'll have Lauren in the team, so you know, I think having that under our belt is absolutely amazing. I think we joked about it in the winter about Maddie bowling, but then she came on in scenarios in the nets, and you know, she took the most wickets, and we were like, oh bloody hell, we're onto something here. So. Yeah, I think it's great to have in the locker, and obviously it's always great to have another off spinner in the team, isn't it? And she just bowls consistently well. So she's I always said like she's a great all-round athlete, and you know, she moves well, she bowls well, she bats well. So yeah, she's definitely a massive prospect for going forward in the future. And it's exciting to see. It's exciting to have someone like that in the team. And there's a lot of younger players exactly the same as Maddie that are going places for sure in this squad.
I mean, me and Chloe were saying that you had Johnny Bairstow bowling with the Kookaburra in the county championship recently. If we can get Lauren Winfield-Hill to work on that bowling in the winter.
I think Lauren would turn to ash if she turned her arm over. No, we'll keep her batting and wicket keeping, but she's great in the field as well, so she's also very, very handy. But yeah, no, we're not going to get Lauren to turn her arm over because I think that might be the end of her. She might hate me for saying that, but I tried bowling in the nets at there this winter, and I woke up and my trap was by my ear. I was so stiff, and I was like, I'm never bowling an over ever again. Like I couldn't do it. We're too old for that now. Maddie's got a lot of time on her hands, and she's got a lot of time on her side as well, body wise. So we'll stay away from that for sure.
Your campaign has been a very successful one as a team. 8 wins in 8 with, I think, 6 bonus point wins, which is just unbelievable. Yep. What have been some of your highlights of your Blast campaign?
Highlights of the Blast campaign. Really trying to rejig my memory now. I think for me, it's not even just like personal performances. It's just like being on a roll like that is really, really good for the team. Like, because as Rich always says, winning is a habit. And once you get into the habit of winning and figuring out, even though in difficult situations, how to then get over the line is really important for us going forward in T1. But I think, you know, I would say a standout performance for me was probably my 165. And then in terms of like other people's performances is one, yeah, seeing Maddie sort of like step up and really show what she's capable of. It's been quite difficult with Lauren and Sarah being in and out of the team, and the batting order seems to be changing quite a bit, but it's just amazing to see like we're adapting. We've had Boyce come in, which has been brilliant. But like whatever's happening in the team, we seem to always manage to come together as a collective and, make sure it works and make sure we're learning at the same time going into next year. So I think for me, it's not even like personal performances or performance from other people. It's just coming together as a collective, and it's working and we're gelling really well and we're adapting to situations, and it seems to be working so far. But I think obviously next year is going to be an even bigger challenge for us. I think with obviously being the only team that's fully paid, like I would expect that we should be winning most games. And I think next year is going to be a real big challenge. It'll definitely be another year of learning and, overcoming a lot of things. But we're ready for the challenge, and we'll have Sarah and Lauren back full time, and we've just signed Jess Johnson for 2 years, which is unbelievable. Like it's looking like we're going to have a really strong team next year going forward. So, yeah, hopefully we can just continue gelling like we have been. So that's been pretty cool. Just winning at Headingley is pretty cool. That's always the best feeling, I think, winning at Headingley. It's just nice being here and putting on a good show for the crowd that comes in.
You mentioned Georgie Boyce there, who you've got on loan from the Blaze, and she's been your top run scorer this tournament, and I'm pretty sure is third overall or around there in the overall standings. How important do you think the loan system is for tiered cricket right now and growing the game overall?
I think, well, yeah, incredibly important. I think when obviously we obviously lost two of our top order to obviously tier one and them going on loan. I think it's great that they're taking those opportunities, and I think it's really, really important that they keep developing their game, and they're obviously in the 100 and games like this, and they need to be getting better and better. But yeah, obviously having Boise in the team, she comes with a heaps of experience. She's a really simple, straightforward player in terms of like, she's going to get a steady 40-50, which sets us in good stead at the top order. But with that also comes, other people that have been in the team are getting dropped for that. So on the other side of that, it's kind of like, even though we're in development phase and it's been really important for us to have her here, we've also lost players that are needing to develop as well. So I think there's two sides of it really for tier two. But it's been great having her. I obviously do think it's really important that Boise then gets an opportunity to play as well. So, it helps everyone in a circular motion. There's always going to be people in and out of a team as professional sport, but that's the only gripe I'd really have with it, is taking other spots.
And then Ria Thackrell, who's someone you know very well from your time at the Sparks, is having quite the season in the Blast. She's the tournament's top wicket taker. What do you think has made her so successful this season?
I actually spoke to Ria the other day, and I was going to actually tell you how proud I am of you this year, because I think she had a really, really tough time at Sparks. Whether that was like she didn't gel well with the coaching staff, or she didn't feel like she was communicated well enough, and I think, and she actually said herself, she was like, it was just the feeling of being comfortable here. If she was dropped for a 50-over game, she knows why, and she's communicated well with. So she doesn't go in her head and be like, oh, it's because I'm not good enough or this and that. It's actually, no, you're being told a reason why, and so you can justify it in your head and keep moving forward. So I think it's more just like the environment that we've created here of, everyone communicates really, really well. Everyone knows where they stand. Obviously, she's came into the Blast and absolutely smashed it. And I'm really proud of how she's handled herself this year, because I know she really struggled at Sparks, and rightly so. And I think it's just credit to the environment that we've built here. I know it sounds really cliche, but it's a lovely environment to be in. I think that's really important to keep, players performing at their best and ensuring that they're mentally in a good spot and ready to go when they are called up. But yeah, we back her, and the coach is back her, and we've always known that Ria's had it in her. It's just, it takes the right members of staff to bring that out of out of players, and yeah, it's super important. We're very lucky to have those coaching staff here at Yorkshire. So I think that's been really good for her.
Of course. And then looking at finals day, it's a big day
Mm.
for you as a team on Saturday in Northampton.
Yeah.
What from your group stage campaign are you hoping to take into, I guess, the big one?
I think for us, we're trying not to see it as a big occasion. We're trying to just see it as another game that we want to win, and take one game at a time. I think we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. We know we're up against some good teams on finals day. It might be a lot harder than what we've actually been playing against recently. So we know we have to be on it, but also not wanting to get too ahead of ourselves and just doing the basics well, and learning from things where, in some recent games, maybe the run rate hasn't been as high, or we haven't run twos quick enough, stuff like that. We're just bringing all that stuff that we've learned from those games into that day. And just, yeah, everyone just making sure that they're in the best space. We train well this week, and I just want us to be relaxed and enjoy it. Like, we've done really, really well to get where we are, and we deserve to go all the way, in my opinion. And obviously that would be lovely, but I think we should be proud of what we've actually done this season so far. And we just enjoy playing. We don't want to think of it as a big occasion. It's just another game of cricket at the end of the day, and that'll keep us mentally calm. But we're really excited. It should be a really, really great day. And I love a big occasion. We all love a big occasion. We've got some of the girls back as well, so that'll be lovely.
What would it mean to you to lift that trophy on Saturday?
Do we get a trophy? Do you know if we get one? I've always wanted to lift a trophy.
I mean, if you didn't get a trophy, I'd sue. You must be getting a trophy.
I don't know if they did that in Tier 2. I don't know if you just get medals. Do you know what? After losing 2 finals to Vipers, 2 years on the bounce, it would mean an awful lot, especially with this new group of girls, because we have worked really, really well to overcome obstacles. And we've been a new team where we've just been pushed into getting to know each other quite quickly, and learning on the go. And they're just such a great group of girls as well, and it's kind of like, I think that'll be great confidence for us going forward into Tier 1 next year. And I don't think I've actually ever lifted a trophy, so that would be pretty awesome. Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. Hopefully we can do it next year as well. You never know.
I mean, you never know. If you don't end up getting a trophy, we'll be having words on your behalf with the ECB.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. No, it would be pretty awesome, wouldn't it? Especially with this bunch, and it would be great for Rich and Brycey as well, because they've put in a hell of a lot of work. And Matt the S&C, he works his absolute arse off, and to keep us all fit and ready and primed, and it would just be great for the members of staff as well, because I know how much hard work they've put in to set all this up for us, making sure we're all looked after and this and that. And I think it would just be great to pay them back for something and show how hard they've worked as well.
And then a bit of a broader one, looking at the game as a whole, do you think Project Darwin is doing what the ECB set out to do? And is there anything maybe you tweak slightly going into next season?
I'd say that it is. To be honest, I think this is the most opportunity I've seen in women's cricket with this tier 2 stuff come through. In terms of, there's some Tier 2 girls now going into the 100, and there's county, there was what's she called, Davis from Worcestershire Rapids, and I think she's an awesome batter. She actually followed me on Instagram today. I don't know if she got wind of me saying to Gwen, I was like, she's a great batter. She should be playing T1 next year for sure. And apparently she had got a gig with Somerset, and I was just like, it's kind of like these T2 girls are getting opportunities in T1, and they're getting picked for 100 and this and that, and that would never have happened. That would never have happened last year. So people are developing, and they're getting chosen on merit, and I think it's going in the right direction for sure. In terms of like pay and stuff like that, that's another massive conversation. I think we could probably do more to help tier 2 teams going forward, just to make sure that that standard is getting higher and higher each year. But yeah, apart from that, I haven't got an all lot to say, apart from it's been real good my end from what I've seen in the progress. But yeah, I wouldn't have a lot to say in it. I remember reading that, but you know, with me, I don't withhold a lot of information. I just turn up to training and play and see. Like,
I think that's what you've got to do.
Yeah, try and help in the environment that I'm in. I can't take on too much, otherwise I get a little bit overwhelmed. So yeah.
And then it's a blockbuster weekend for women's cricket. It's going to be a busy one for us journalists. On Sunday, we're Tier 1 at the Oval, featuring Surrey, the Bears, and Blaze. Do you have any predictions? Who do you think is lifting that trophy?
Do you know what? I would like to say Bears, because all of them, you know, I know a lot of the girls in that team and I love them to bits. But I would say on how they've been playing, I would say Surrey are going to win. Blaze always have a way of winning, even if they haven't done that well. They have got into a habit of winning. The thing is with T20, you just never know, and that's why it's so exciting. You never know what's going to happen on the day. Top 4 might all get ducks. You just never know. It doesn't matter how good they are. But I would say Surrey, they've got a lot of experience in their team.
I'd agree.
Got a lot of big dogs, haven't they? So I think they'll be the team to beat for sure. But it's Blaze Bears first, isn't it? And then Surrey playing in the final. I don't know. It depends who has a good day between Blaze and Bears, I think. I think Blaze have a lot of experience in winning. But if Bears, you know, have a good day out, I think they've got a lot of talent in their team that could take them forward as well. So if they're having a good day, you just honestly never know. But my predictions is that Surrey are going to lift the trophy for sure. I'll be watching for sure. Me and Rebecca Duckworth are actually thinking about going down now, because I think it would be a great day out if the weather's good. So I might see you there.
And then finally, a fun one for you, which we have decided we're going to ask all of our guests. Do you have any cricketing icks? Anything your teammates do that just make you go, absolutely not, stop it?
I'm not saying this is just Maddie alone, but wicket keepers that stand in front of the wicket when you're going to get a direct hit. I don't know if it's an ick. It's a really big annoyance for me, though. There's been 3 or 4 times, I think, this season where it was actually duckies. I'd be like, that was hitting middle. But it's like that's how they're trained. They're trained to do that. So it's not the wicketkeeper's fault. They're trained to do that. But it's kind of like, yeah, it is because it just takes longer for the keeper to then catch it and then take it. I think there's been a lot of run-outs missed because of that old technique. Sorry, Maddie or Lauren. But that's my biggest annoyance, I'd say.
To be fair, the wicket keepers do tend to get targeted because the biggest one that we get is short sleeves. Wicket keepers wearing short sleeves.
Yeah, that's not going to be an ick of mine though, because I'm not a wicket keeper. But I'd probably say actually Ria does this. She bowls in a cap and sunglasses sometimes, and I can't bear it.
I saw a clip of her doing that, and it actually just made me cringe, because I remember Erin Burns did it when she was over here for Sparks a couple of years ago, and I was like, no, just take it off.
Yeah. I don't know if it's an Aussie thing, but like it's kind of like fair enough if it's like really sunny, but like cap and sunglasses, I'm like, there's a lot going on here. Do you know what I mean? And long sleeves, and I'm like, wow, all in one.
Not happening.
Yeah, but I mean, apart from that, everyone's got their own little annoyances, haven't they? But I would say that was mine. Keepers being in front of direct hits. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming on, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you. I'll see you there.
I'll see you there. Now moving on to Sunday and Tier 1 at the Oval. Unlike Tier 2 Finals Day, which features 2 semis, Tier 1 will only feature the one, otherwise known as an eliminator, as the Blaze take on local rivals the Bears at 12:30. before Surrey, who have already qualified for the final, will take on the winner of that game at 4:30. It's looking to be an action-packed day of cricket, and Surrey, for me, are the favourites in front of a home crowd. They have won 11 of their 14 games, easily topping the table on 52 points. It's important to note as well that they only lost one, also falling a victim to rain and a no result, as well as a tie. I wouldn't put it past the Bears or Blaze, however, to pull an upset. I was lucky enough to catch up with the Blazers' Marie Kelly ahead of their eliminator against local Midlands rivals the Bears on Sunday. Let's get into it. I would like to welcome the Blazers' Marie Kelly to the podcast. First and foremost, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Tired, body sore from yesterday's game against Warwickshire, but made better for getting the win, definitely.
We are recording this podcast off the back of you scoring 2 half-centuries, a mighty fine 57 against Hampshire in the Blast and 66 against your former county, the Bears, in our random Metrobank One Day Cup game yesterday. You're definitely peaking just in time for the main event on Sunday.
Oh yeah, well, I'd like to think so. Yeah, I'd kind of forgotten I'd got the other half-century as well, but just trying to take it ball by ball, and yeah, finally found some good form, and yeah, like you say, hopefully it's about peaking at the right time, try and score some more runs on Sunday.
You made the decision ahead of this season to sign a multi-year contract with the Blaze, who you'd spent quite a while with in the regional era. What was your thought process surrounding this decision, and how has life as a Blaze player been so far this season?
Well, I guess there wasn't too much to think about really. We were really happy with how things were going at Trent Bridge with the staff that we had, and like the rest of the team. Role clarity was pretty clear too. So yeah, there wasn't too much of a discussion, I guess, in terms of whether to stay or not. Obviously loved my time at Warwickshire throughout the years, but I think it's right for cricket wise to be at Trent Bridge currently, and we have the amazing team that we've got, and feel really strong that we're going to be competing for finals in both T20 and 50 over cricket, hopefully for many years to come.
I mean, on that note, you've had a very successful Blast campaign, qualifying second and making it to Sunday's eliminator at the Oval. You ended the group stage with 8 wins from 14, but it's important to note for listeners that you also had 3 no results and a tie. What were some of your highlights of your campaign?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. I think the win at the Oval against Surrey was definitely a highlight for us as a team. They're obviously one of the strongest teams in the competition, play some really tough competitive cricket, and I think we really stood up to that. And I think especially when you're batting first, I think almost to bat them out the game was a real positive sign for us as a team. I think we've been really good chasing throughout the competition as well. So to have put in those performances with the bat first, that was probably a personal highlight and a team highlight. And then I think the game at Durham where we chased down, I think was it 180 around that, but we just did it so clinically. Obviously to have Tammy back as well, she said she felt a bit under the cosh, that because me and G had been putting on such good performances together, and she felt under the cosh as an opener to come back in and perform. So for her to come and do that was really, really pleasing. And yeah, as a team collective performance on quite a quick outfield as well, that was really pleasing for us as a group.
I was talking to your Blaze teammate, Lucy Hyam, recently, and we were talking about the sudden rise in first innings totals this season in the T20 compared to last season. And I was wondering what you think are the main factors which have helped that increase.
I think one of the biggest reasons is the weather and the conditions that we've got. I think the last 2 years we've just had awful starts to the season in terms of weather. Not too many games being called off, but just been so wet and damp, and it plays into the bowler's favour more there. So I think partly that, but then I also think there's been a shift in batters' mindsets in the power play. In particular, you've seen a lot more girls now be more aggressive and have higher strike rates. And I tend to field at mid-on, mid-off early in the power play, and have felt from ball 1 this year that this ball's coming at me, it's going to be hit hard at me here. Whereas before you potentially had a couple of overs of batters getting themselves in. So I think there has been definitely a shift in power and the intent to score the runs for sure. And then obviously when you've got the conditions and the pitches that match up to that, it plays into the batter's favour even more. And we've seen those scores increase this year hugely.
100%. And you are captained at the Blaze by Kirsty Gordon, who I would argue is someone who falls under the radar a little bit. Within, you've got a very good squad. I think that's an understatement and a half. How is it being captained by someone of Kirsty's experience?
Yeah, I think she's brilliant. I think we get on really well from a captain and vice captain point of view. That I think we're on the same page a lot of the time. She's very kind of logical in her decisions, but also backs her gut as well. She thinks about the game hugely. She does probably the most amount of prep for each game than anyone does. She knows all of her bowlers' fields inside and out. She knows every batter's game plan. So I think she's just switched on and on it. And she just, like you say, probably goes under the radar with how much work she does kind of behind the scenes, so that allows complete clarity on the pitch for herself, but she also drives and demands that kind of the rest of the team too. So yeah, real forceful leader. But I think you need that in high performance cricket.
And then on the note of your teammates, Catherine Bryce has once again been a standout player for you this campaign after winning the MVP award in your Charlotte Edwards Cup campaign last season. She topped your run scoring charts and topped your wicket taking charts. What do you think makes her so successful season after season?
Well, again, another hard worker. She's constantly, she's constantly working on things, but not necessarily her weaknesses, like her strengths as well. She reinforces her strengths and practices that in training. She's very level-headed as well, which I think helps. So she had a couple of games, rarely, where she doesn't score runs, like it won't affect her too much. But I don't know, there's just something about her that she's just in with the fight all the time. So if she's not taking wickets or scoring runs, she's taking catches and getting run-outs and influencing the game that way. But I think there's certain players like her that you can't quite put your finger on it, but they just have a gut feel, a gut influence in the game, and she's just always there doing things quietly behind the scenes.
And then looking at Sunday, finals day, heading to the Oval, how are you feeling? And what from your group stage campaign are you hoping to take into your eliminator clash with local rivals, the Bears?
I'm just looking forward to the whole day, really. I think the Oval's always a great place to play cricket, especially as a batter anyway, but also the crowds that they get there, the atmosphere always seems to feel really good. The facilities and everything's great. So as an occasion, it's always exciting as a player, first and foremost. But then I guess, like what we just spoke about, kind of with peaking into the competition, I think we've done that as a team. I think early in the year we had a few more sloppy performances where we still managed to win. And they're almost the best ones because you've got the win under your belt, but you're still learning and you can get better in certain ways. And I think the bowlers have been outstanding throughout the competition. Hope that they can continue that. But then also in the field, our standards have just gone up and up and up. And I think the last game at Hampshire was probably one of our best fielding performances as well. So you just hope that on finals day, you can kind of show that and the pressure doesn't get to you too much. And hopefully if we can be as good as we have been in all three areas and kind of bring it all together on the day, that's what you want to get out of a finals day, really.
100%. And I've just looked at the match day guide that the Oval have put together, and I don't know if you noticed, we're not getting a mascot race.
Okay.
But the mascots are playing a life-sized version of Hungry Hippos. You know, the game where you have to grab the balls.
There you go. Things like that. They're always entertaining the crowd, so it'll be a good day. I'm sure there'll be plenty of fireworks too.
And you have been one of the players at the head of women's cricket, I'd say, in recent times. You've spent time with the Central Sparks, time with Lightning, who, for people who don't know, became the Blaze in the regional era, and also obviously Warwickshire as captain. Mm-hmm. How has the transition that has come with Project Darwin been for you at Trent Bridge? And what would you say have been some of the most notable changes for the women's game in recent times?
Well, I think we were all pretty aware that we probably wouldn't be too affected in Tier 1, as it would just be a fairly similar format for us. But we were all whilst excited, we're probably a bit cautious about the effects it was going to have on Tier 2 and Tier 3 cricket and the wider game. But I think it's been a real success, and seeing the standard of some Tier 2 and Tier 3 cricket and seeing people pushing for places then into Tier 1 cricket, I think has been really, really good. And I know, like you said, I've been around a while, and a lot of the girls that I used to coach and like young women that I used to coach, I see them playing for different Tier 2 and Tier 3 sides, and I think that's really great, because if it didn't exist, they probably wouldn't be playing cricket now, or they'd be playing club cricket or uni cricket, but now they've still got an opportunity to play in sort of a high performance environment, and still get themselves better and contribute to making the standard of the game higher overall. So yeah, I've been really pleased with it. Obviously, I'm not in that position of Tier 2 and Tier 3, so I don't know fully the ins and outs, and I did have concerns about if you were maybe dropped from either of those teams and where you sit, and if people were going to come back down. But I don't think there's been as much movement as we maybe thought in between, like week by week. And I think squads, from what it looks like, have been fairly similar from game to game. So I think it's been a real positive addition for women's cricket.
I mean, it's clear that you think it's kind of doing what the ECB set out to do, but with any new project, we're in our first year, it's not going to be completely seamless. Is there anything that maybe you'd change or adjust for next season?
I'm not really sure, because I don't think I have the in-depth knowledge of it. I think it's to find those kind of answers. I think you always have to ask the players on the fringe. I think when you ask, for example, if you ask, oh, what do you think of this coach? I think it's really important to ask not the players that have got their set place every single game and are really clear on their roles, but 12, 13, 14, how are they treated? How do they feel they fit into the group? And I think that's probably the same for tier 2 and Tier 3 cricket. Those girls that are just in, just out, how do they find the transition if they're dropped one week, those kind of things. So yeah, from the outside looking in, it looks great and looks like it works and looks really positive, but yeah, you might have to delve a bit deeper to find out the real happenings, I guess.
100%. And we've spoken a lot on this podcast about the loan system and had a lot of opinions about whether it works, whether it doesn't. And there are members of the Blaze playing squad who've gone on loan this season. And I was curious about what your thoughts are on it, and if there's anything you'd maybe change about it heading into future seasons.
Yeah, I think, well, from a Blaze point of view, it's benefited us hugely. I think a prime example is Michaela Kirk, who was kind of in and out of the Blaze first team, and she's been able to go and play for Northants, and she scored run after run with Northants, and it's kept her in good form. And then she's been able to come back into our side, and she put in what was, I think, was probably going to be a match-winning performance against Somerset when we got rained off. But it just meant that she's able to come back into the team and have an immediate impact. And you'd like to think that doesn't then affect people at Northants as well. For example, the girl that may have lost her place to Michaela dropping back down. But also, I think people need to see the benefit of having better players drop down as well. That it will also benefit the wider squad. It will help drive the standard up. People like Turkey can offer advice to some of the younger players, and it's not just about the role that you give with the bat or the ball. It's kind of your experiences and the conversations that you can have with players to help drive the standard. So I think there's lots of different benefits. But yeah, someone like Kirky Boise as well, going to play for Yorkshire, and she's been in some great form again, so she can come back into Tier 1 cricket with us and play. So I think it's benefited people all round. But yeah, might need to delve a bit deeper.
And then looking at Sunday, what would it mean to you and your squad to lift the inaugural Women's Vitality Blast title?
Yeah, I think it'd be huge. That's obviously what we set out to do when we play. Obviously reigning champions from last year from the Charlotte Edwards Cup. So now that that's finished, we want to be the name on the new trophy. I think we've played some really, really good cricket this year, and I think we all play a part at the Blaze in driving the standards forwards of women's cricket. So we'd just like to see that reflected in some silverware. And hopefully hopefully we can just put out the performances that we know we can do, and you want to get rewarded for that.
Looking at Tier 2, do you have any predictions for Saturday? The finals day is at Northampton, featuring Leicestershire, Middlesex, Glamorgan and Yorkshire. Who do you think comes out on top?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I think you'd be remiss to say Yorkshire should be winning that. They've got probably the strongest side, depending on who plays for them. I don't know what's allowed, whether you have like a long Winfield Hill, whether you can have a stair Callis play. So that would be an interesting discussion, is girls that have played Tier 1 cricket, can they go back and play Tier 2 on finals day? So I think if Yorkshire are full strength, they're going to be really hard to beat. Middlesex, I think, are really strong, but I think Glamorgan are quite scrappy as well, and do well to get over the line. So yeah, it'll be an interesting day, but I think I'd put my money on Yorkshire.
I'd agree. Finally, a bit of a fun one, and it's something we're going to ask all of our guests. Do you have any cricketing icks? Anything that your teammates do that just makes you think, stop it? Absolutely not.
Oh, I probably am some of the icks, I guess. I'm not really sure. I don't think I have too many icks. I think the biggest ick for me is the keeper in short sleeves. I don't know why. We talked about it yesterday, but I don't know why it just doesn't look good. I don't like an unnecessary appeal. I think as a bowler you should know whether it's out or not. And if it's really unnecessarily out, I find it a bit of an ick if you're putting in a big appeal. And then maybe like a big celebration for getting number 10 or 11 out. Yeah, I don't know, I find that a bit of an ick as well.
I'd like to say a huge thank you to Marie for coming on today. You can watch her in action on Sunday in the Vitality Blast Finals Day, either live on Sky Sports Cricket and Sky Sports Mix, or you can get yourself down to the Oval. Tickets start at £25. And if you're thinking, oh no, the Lionesses are playing, I can't do both, you can. They've got it covered. The game will be shown live in dedicated fan zones across the ground. You don't want to miss it. Get down to the Oval. You're getting one ticket for double the sport. But thank you, Marie, for coming on.
Thank you for having me. See you on Sunday.
Thanks for listening to this week's Two Tiers Deep. If you like to find me, Chloe Hill, you can find myself on Instagram with a new Instagram page covering this podcast at Two Tiers Deep CH. Or I'll pass you over Rosa to find herself at
Rosa Talks Ball. Or if you have any questions, you can contact us on rosatalksball@gmail.com. And please don't hesitate to get in touch.